Hi everybody, we are going to walk you through step by step the November Club Q. And before we do that, I want to give you a preview of December also. So here we have November. We got 2 pages, the next 2 pages of November. If you are not a Club Q member and you just happened upon this video, this is our November Club Q, which is our monthly kit club. You can read all about it if you go to shopquickquotes.com and click on Club Q. But every month you get brand new kits shipped to your door. You always get 2 double-page layouts plus a paper pack for $32. Free shipping, always free shipping. Here is a preview of December's kits. So there's 2 and then the second one. So if you're interested, you can sign up at shopquickquotes.com at Club Q. You get lots of benefits for being a Club Q member. If you're already a member, thank you, thank you, thank you. And if you are thinking about signing up, just know that in your first shipment, you also get free kits. So you would get you would get the month that you signed up for. Plus you get an entire starter kit. So you get an extra 4 pages plus an extra paper pack in your first one, $32, free shipping, and lots of extras for you too for being a member. Check it out, shopquickquotes.com, and we will get started with the instructional video for November. Okay, we are going to get started on the first November Club Q kit. This one is called Grateful. Now, a couple of things before we get started. I'm going to move the samples out of the way here. As you're punching pieces out of your die cuts, I want to make sure that you hang on to the negative piece from both brown die cuts. So there'll be one that has a square like that, one that has a circle like that. So hang on to those pieces because those are going to be part of your background. I'll just show you here. This gets glued right to the center of that, and then you'll never see that back side. So we don't like to waste paper. Go ahead and glue that down, but I just want to say that from the beginning so that you don't throw these out in the trash. And the other background paper goes right on here. So you have the base of both pages. And as we get started here, this is a pretty simple kit to get put together, but it is really some beautiful fall colors. We'll get started on page 1. And what I normally do is all my cutting diagrams first. So on the back of your instruction sheet, if there's ever any cutting instructions, we always have them right here at the top. I do want to mention this very first one. It says cut the 4 3/4 by 10.5 brown paper. That should be taken off of there because you don't actually cut that yourself. We put that into a laser cut for you, so you will have those pieces that come out of your die cut. It's these little pieces here. So it says to cut those on the cutting diagram, but no need to do that because we actually put it into the thing for you. Okay, so we will get started. What we'll start with is cutting the peach paper into 2 3 1/4 by 4 1/2. So you have a peach sheet of paper like this, and it is already at 3 1/4. So you just want to turn it, cut it at 4 1/2, and then you'll have 2 pieces that are exactly the same. Let's set those aside. The next cutting diagram, I wrote the wrong numbers on here, so ignore that, but is a script piece of paper, kind of an off-white splattered piece of paper here. And we are going to cut those into 3 by 4 1/2. So as you can see, 4¼ I'm sorry, I wrote that on there wrong. I can't get this one right, I guess. So these are at 4¼ already. We're going to turn it and cut 3. Move it down and trim at 3 again. So then you have 3 pieces like this. We'll set those aside also. Those are going to be used on page 1. And for cutting diagrams, that is all we have for this one. The rest of it we actually put into laser cuts so that you can just punch them out. So I'm going to move that aside. And as we go, you can chalk pieces up as you wish. This one actually suggests amaretto, sunset, and seafoam for powder puff chalking inks. I am choosing a couple of different colors. I actually have oak tree, which is kind of a reddish brown. I have sunset, which is suggested on there. And then I am using, for a different green, instead of seafoam, I'm using emerald forest. So that's just a little darker green. Totally up to you. If you have other colors, I know that you could also use maybe an aqua or the mermaid color for powder puff chalking inks. You chalk it up however you please. And we're going to go ahead and get started on page 1. The first piece that we are going to put down is this green strip here, and it goes all the way from top to bottom. And like I said, go ahead and chalk these up. The great thing about having a video is that you can pause it, do your chalking, get your stuff punched out, and then just push play again when you're ready to go. I'm going to chalk this one up with the oak tree. So it's kind of a brown with a little hint of orangish red. I really like this color. It's a really nice fall color. And it doesn't necessarily have this color in the background, but once you kind of put everything together, it just kind of mixes and matches all the fall colors. This one is sunset. So a little bit more orange, peach colored. We also make a couple of peach colors. I think peach Bellini, peaches and cream. Any of those peach colors would work too if you want something a little lighter. Once you get that chalked up, we are going to put this strip 2 inches in from the right edge. And then if you remember earlier, I said that these brown pieces were already in the die cut for you. Instead of on the instructions to cut, they're in your die cut. We are just going to line these up here. And I'm not really tacking anything down yet. I like to get things in place, tack it down later. And then I also want to show you these die cuts. Usually when we have something inside of the other, we use the outside piece. So you want to hang on to this very outside piece because that's going to go on page 2. Set that aside. This inside piece is going to be your third piece here. And believe it or not, we don't even use this piece here, but you definitely could. You could use it for an extra frame. You can add it to your page, use it for another page, but this one is just going to be set aside because we are not going to use it. And these each go about a 1/2 inch from the bottom of the printed paper here, about a 1/2 inch up here. And how I do it is I get the first one on, about a 1/2 inch down and centered on the green, and then about a 1/2 inch up and centered. And then I take my middle one and just center it there so you can have some perfect spacing in there. And just go ahead and chalk those up as you go. If you want to layer these and adhere them down, you go right ahead. Now out of another green die cut, you have a smaller green. It's 3 1/4 by 4 1/2. This one goes on the center. You cut these earlier. These go up here. I just like the layered look of this. It actually has 3 layers for these photo backers. But if you don't want to layer that much and you want to save these for another page or something, you go right ahead. And then on top of that is the script paper that we trimmed out earlier. And this last brown die cut, this centerpiece is not being used either. So save that for something else, add it to your page somewhere if you would like. But this outside frame is what is going to go on page 2. Okay, so on page 1, you have a vellum piece with words on it, and just go ahead and trim out. It doesn't have to be perfect because this edge is not going to show. It's going behind this little frame here. So just trim out the edge. You'll want to grab your peach outline of your embellishment here. And what I would do is take a glue pen, which I don't have here, but I'll pretend. Take a glue pen, just put a little glue in some random places here. A few dots around this circle. And then place your vellum how you would like it to show. So your pumpkin will go about like this. Place this so that you have the words showing that you want to show. So on mine, I actually have this little grateful part showing, which means it hangs over a little bit here, so we might have to trim off some. But go ahead and put it on there how you would like it to show. And then once you have that on there, if you have any overhang, just go ahead and trim that little piece off. See, I have a little bit here because I moved it around so I could have exactly what I want showing there. So just trim off any extra around there. Once you have that on, actually I'm going to trim that off of there. And you don't want to put adhesive all over this or on the vellum part because that will show through. So what I'm going to do again to tack this down is just put a little adhesive here, here, just little bits up here, and put it on your page like 3/4 of an inch from the very top of the brown there, wherever you feel it looks best. But I have about 3/4 of an inch there at the top, close to the left edge. And this we did not adhere down because we are going to put, we're going to trim this out, just kind of fussy cut around the edge. And this one will show, so I would take a little time cutting this out around the bottom. Once you have that, put some adhesive along the back, tuck it up under, oops, get it under there, there we go. And then this just gives you a little space to maybe put a date here, just a little bit of what is happening, Thanksgiving 2022, whatever you want to put in there, just a little space for some journaling. And I don't tack these all the way down because as you can see I adjusted this just a little bit. This piece right here, you almost want standing straight up, or pointing straight up, so that you have a little more space to write things here. So I don't tack anything down until I get it into the place that I want. Excuse me. I'm sorry, I'm getting over a cold. It's been a long one too. Okay, once you have that down, you have a die cut that looks like this, and it has all of the brown pumpkin pieces in it. I usually save these ones that are a little more delicate to punch out while I'm doing the project so that I don't lose the smaller pieces or get them hung up on things. I just grab them as I need them. So we have the pumpkin, and again, I just use a little glue pen, some different spots around here, and then this gets adhered right to the top. If you have any of these little things that got stuck in there, those can punch right out too. Right over the top of that. And then we are also going to do the right side, get the base set up for the right side here. So your two little frames, I just set those aside for right now. When you put this on, you want to center it, but just remember not to put any adhesive right here towards the top of the pumpkin because we want to slide our frames right in behind it. So when you adhere this to the page, center it, but make sure you don't put any adhesive right here. Okay. And then we have our big circle. It's going to go right on top of that. And again, if you need to stop and chalk things up, get them the colors that you want, just hit pause and come back to it in a minute. Your glue pen is the best bet for this. And what I would do is put a little adhesive around the pumpkin, get your pumpkin positioned where you want it, and then I would go back around and put a little adhesive behind the circle. That way you're not getting it stuck and having to peel it back up. I would just put some adhesive around this little pumpkin, put it down, get it adjusted how you want, and then go back and do the circle. So now you can tuck in your pictures behind here. So go ahead and add a picture behind here. And these go right onto your page like that. You have a couple of leaves. I'm going to chalk these up with oak tree. Give it a little bit of a brownish orange color. These guys go up here. Add some pretty fall colors. Get those positioned how you like them. And then the thing I like best about this kit is the pumpkin pieces, because we have the centers in a die cut separately so that you can take them out and add a whole bunch of color around there, so it really gives some dimension to your pumpkin. If we hadn't punched these out separately, then it would be really hard to get some chalking ink into the inside of each one of those. So I'm going to show you here on the bigger pumpkin. Punch out these separately. And I am going to use the oak tree again. You choose the color that works best for you. But this is just a really easy way to get around those edges. And then you use your glue pen, put it right inside of that pumpkin. You can see it just makes that pop just a little bit there. Next piece. This is what's great about these little tails here. You can turn it around, get into the curves and the cracks. That goes right in there. It just kind of makes that pumpkin pop off of the page. When you get to the smaller one, it's a little harder because the pieces are smaller, but even if you chalk the entire thing up with a different color, it still looks really beautiful. It's just a little more difficult to get the tiny pieces. So I believe in my sample that went onto the instructions, I used amaretto for this with maybe a little bit of sunset over it just to give it a little orangish color to it. Anyway, having these little pieces, just a fun little technique that you can add some dimension. That goes right in there. The only other pieces you have, you want to go ahead and repeat that for your pumpkin over here. The only other pieces you have are your little banner pieces. And actually, you know what? I'm going to try this green. So this is Fields, or no, not Fields of Green, Emerald Forest. It's a really pretty color. So it just kind of depends on what look you want to give it as far as which powder puff chalking ink colors you want to use. And then these just are a little bit of a decoration. All of our embellishments, they come in a little bag like this. We have 3 little brads. You don't necessarily have to put the brad all the way through the page. I just do it because they're just decoration. They don't necessarily have to go all the way through the page. I just put it through just the banner piece and then glue it down to my page. So you do that with those 2. And you are all set. Thanks so much for watching. Thanks for being a Club Q member. And I hope you enjoy your November kits. And we'll see you next time.